In marriage, you're supposed to be your spouse's number one, right? Well, imagine being ranked number two to your husband's addiction. On today's case, Mrs. Comstock says she's taken the back seat to her husband's real first love for over 20 years. But being bumped to number three by another woman is where she says surfs up to this relationship. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Comstock versus Comstock.
Excellent. Mrs. Comstock, you say that for the last 22 years, your husband has put his surfing obsession before your marriage, your family, and your finances, as well as everything else that should matter. And today you're ready to call it quits if things don't change.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Comstock, you want your wife to accept you for who you are. You want this marriage to work, but you say she knew that surfing was your priority when you all first met, and you want her to be more supportive of your dreams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Comstock, why don't you take us back? How did you meet?
All right.
And what brings you here?
We met about 23 years ago in college. At the time, he was a cute surfer boy. Yeah.
Aren't they all?
You know it. Yeah, so in the beginning, it was super fun. We would surf all the time, but here's what happened, Your Honor. We grew up. We grew up. It's time for him to step up. I am completely neglected.
Well, Mr. Comstock, you hear what your wife said. What do you say?
I'm the same guy I was when we met. Like, we didn't grow up, she grew up. And I'm still me, I'm still living the lifestyle that I grew up with since I was a kid. And that was part of what she loved when she met me. And I'm still the same guy. It's just, she changed.
Well, Mrs. Comstock, you say you didn't change, you just grew up. Why don't you talk to me about what's been happening in your relationship?
All right, so I need more. We're not the same people that we were. He said it, he's the same person, that's the problem. It is 23 years later. I'm a surf widow. I am a surf widow.
Surf widow?
Yeah, you don't show up. I'm like a widow. All you want to do is surf. I am tired of my life revolving around your life, which revolves around swell and low tide. Your Honor, it is ridiculous.
I understand your first date was actually surfing, right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Our first date was surfing, and it was fun, and it was magical, and I fell in love. There were dolphins in the water. It was one of those beautiful sunny days. I remember the day. But here's what happened. We had a child. We have a mortgage. We have responsibilities.
Do you work outside of the home?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And what about your husband? Does he work outside of the home?
If you want to call it that. He gets what he calls throwaway jobs, so he can follow the swell. He can surf whenever he wants. He can quit the job, not give notice. It is completely irresponsible.
So tell me, Mr. Comstock, don't you agree that there are mortgages or lease payments and the car has to be paid for and somebody has to pay for the electricity and Lord forbid if you all want to have cable? I mean, all of those things are things that grown-ups have to take care of at some point in their lives.
It's true, and I do those things. Like, I find time to work, but I shape my work and professional life around having my days free so that we can be happy and like live a outdoor surfy lifestyle. Yeah,
so he says that, and it is true, he lives his life around surfing, but I have PTSD, Your Honor, because
PTSD?
Yeah, bankruptcy.
What?
Yeah,
Bankruptcy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor, bankruptcy.
Explain that to me.
Okay, so he's working his minimum wage, throwaway jobs. Meanwhile, we're getting behind in our bills. I'm the one talking to all the bill collectors. I'm the one who arranged for us to claim bankruptcy, given our situation.
Babe, it was a recession.
And he was surfing. He was surfing all the time, Your Honor.
Okay, so talk to me, Mr. Comstock, about this bankruptcy, because I'm going to tell you, that's an extreme.
It was a recession. Like, everybody was hurting. Like, it wasn't just me.
You could have stepped up, and we could have been in a completely different situation.
I did step up. I was, like, working, like, 3 jobs. I was working, like, produce in a grocery store, for God's sake.
Part-time, Your Honor.
My question is this. During those very hard times, when you were working 3 jobs,
Yeah.
did you figure out time to go surfing every day, depending on the weather?
I did.
So you know what? That was your priority. If you could figure out how to go surfing during that time, you could have figured out how to be more of a financial contributor to your family.
But it kind of helps me reset my head and how
Your
good
Honor,
am I going to be
Your
for
Honor,
my family?
I'm interrupting you. Let me tell you how bad it got. Not only did we claim bankruptcy, we went on government assistance. I was driving around with clothes in my car, driving to consignment shops. Meanwhile, do you know what he's doing? You guessed it.
Surfing.
He is surfing.
I was making boards too. I was trying to make money. I was trying to find any way to help us get through that. And speaking of clothes, like,
I don't even want to hear it. Your Honor,
You spent a lot on
canceled
clothes.
double
Come on.
dates. Double dates with my friends, our friends who were at our wedding. We hadn't seen them for 10 years. And I made it a point to tell you. I reminded you so many times. We have this date coming up. We have this date. We haven't seen them in a decade. So.
Doesn't show up.
You got it.
Okay, Mr. Comstock, why wouldn't you show up to that?
well, I mean, I was getting ready to go. We were planning on this thing, and it was just
He
turning
admits, we were planning on this thing.
We were planning on it. And
Yeah.
then it was becoming a nightmare of trying to get ready. It was like, oh, are you going to wear that to this thing? And it was
Your
just,
Honor,
it was
he
turning
shows
into
up
one of those
with
nights.
salt in his eyelashes, sandy toes. He wants to wear flip-flops. When we were friends with these people in the beginning, yeah, we were all just coming out of college. It was kind of cool, kind of fun to surf. Meanwhile, they go to law school. She becomes a doctor. And how am I going to show up for dinner with this guy who just got out of the water?
Well, as my grandmother would say, you knew who Pootie was when you first met Pootie, because it wasn't like he became something different.
My son had a swim meet. He really wanted his dad to be there. It was a big deal for our son to do this
It was
swim
not
meet.
that big of a deal.
It was
to
a
him.
huge deal.
I don't think it was all that important. I think it was something he was doing for you to keep you happy.
Brother, let me tell you one quick thing. Every single time you don't show up, it matters to your kid. How does your son feel about this?
Oh, Your Honor, it's so sad. So we had a swim date. My son had a swim meet, and it was a really big deal. We were so excited.
What grade was your son in at that time?
At that time, I believe he was in about, maybe sixth
Yeah, I
grade,
think it was
fifth
sixth
grade.
grade.
So he really wanted his dad to be there. We had created this whole day. We were super excited. It was a big deal for our son to do this
It was
swim
not
meet.
that big of a deal.
It was
to
a
him.
huge deal.
We've been to so many swim meets.
It's your kid, Mr. Comstock. Let me tell you something. I got just the other night my son's full volleyball schedule, his practice schedule, and all I did was put into my calendar what those dates are.
Yeah.
If I am in town, I'll be at those practices or those meets. You want to know why? Because it's important to my kid.
I don't think it was all that important. I think it was something he was doing for you to keep you happy. And I've been to those swim meets. I've been to a ton of swim meets.
I'm just going to let you talk.
Because I'm telling you, you're
case.
digging yourself in a hole real quick. You
Yeah.
don't even need to deal with your wife right now. You need to deal with the judge.
Okay.
Brother, let me tell you one quick thing. Every single time you don't show up, it matters to your kid.
No.
It matters to your kid. I'm telling you, I don't know your kid. I have never met your kid, but it matters to your kids. It's never going to be about what you bought them. It's never going to be about what vacation they went on. It's going to always be about quality time with your child. Do you really want to raise a young man to come into this world thinking that he can blow off obligations? That's a father's duty. If you're going to be in the house, be a man in the house when it comes to your child. Okay, we can move to the next thing. You're never going to win this argument.
Okay.
You're never going to win an argument when it comes to you putting your own needs before your child. Most parents will jump in front of a bullet, okay, if their child needs it. And it may not faze them that they are over in front of a fast food restaurant and not paying attention. They're on their phone. They are TikToking or whatever the kids are doing these days, and they're about to walk out into the middle of the street. But it always phases their mother or their father because your first instinct is to be there for your kid. Mrs. Comstock, I'm concerned about these financial situations. I'm concerned about the lack of obligations. What else are you concerned about?
Okay, so there's this surfer girl who's super cute, about 2 decades younger than I am.
In other words, she's you back in the day.
Yes, Your Honor, you've got that correct. And she can text him. He will drop whatever he's doing and go surf with her.
Do you think he's cheating?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
Now, I'm not talking emotional cheating. I'm talking intimacy cheating. Now, we can distinguish between the two of them, but do you think that there's something nefarious going on?
Yes, Your Honor. It was our anniversary. He leaves me standing to go surf with this girl, this home wrecker girl, who sends my husband eggplant emojis.
We can get Surfer Girl on the phone. Ms. Griffin, I do want to know about the, quote, playful nature of your text messages.
Surfing is a very sexual thing. There's a lot of innuendos.
But you're never going to want another woman to do what you're doing in this relationship. Because if you were doing it in mine, we'd have a big problem. If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. Mr. Comstock, you know I'm gonna ask you directly.
Okay.
Are you having an affair with Surfer Girl?
Absolutely not.
Emotional or otherwise?
No. No, I help this girl out. Look, she's a talented surfer. She's really good. I make boards. I make boards for her.
Your Honor, she's a talented surfer who sends my husband eggplant emojis.
I can't.
Peach emojis.
I can't decide what someone texts me.
I don't care. He canceled a date to go out with her. It was our anniversary. I got all dolled up. So we're going out the door, and you know what happens? He gets a text. He leaves me standing to go surf with this girl, this home wrecker girl.
Wait, on your anniversary?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was our anniversary. I did
He
get that
admits
text.
it. You admit it.
I showed you the text, and it was a picture of that spot that we used to surf, and it was going off. And I was like, babe, we don't need to do like this fancy dinner and go out and spend a ton of money. Let's you and me go. We'll all go. Go surf.
We'll all go. You want to take Surfer Girl on your anniversary to
was
go
gonna
catch
be
a
there.
swell? Robert, what in the world would Chris do if you missed her anniversary to go out with another woman?
Let me see. I'd get home and the locks would be changed.
That's what I'm talking about, okay?
I want my surfer girl back where she was. We haven't surfed in years.
Your Honor, he gave her my clothes.
Wait, now you're gonna make me put my hand on my knife, as Richard Pryor would say, because you don't give the young girl your wife's clothing. Help me to understand this, Mr. Comstock.
Okay, so we were surfing. It was like sunset. It's getting cold out. We're changing out of our wetsuits, and she is freezing.
Changing. By the way, he's holding her towel. How inappropriate is that, Your Honor?
She was having a hard time getting
Are
out
you
of-
naked when you're changing? Like,
Yes, Your Honor.
She was getting out of her wetsuit. She was having a hard time with it. The towel's falling. I grab it. I'm helping her out so her bits aren't like hanging out all over the parking lot.
oh, Father,
I'm
Father,
trying to help
Father.
her. And then it's like cold out.
Just
so,
keep talking.
Yeah.
Just
so
keep
you
talking.
I have one
it's
of your
cold
jackets.
out, so you know it's a little perkier and a little harder.
Yeah.
Miss Comstock, you don't need to make the case any longer. I heard that we can get Surfer Girl on the phone as a witness.
I did. I asked her to call to straighten this out because the jealousy is too much.
So I'd love to find out, Robert, if we have this call available. Miss Candace Griffin.
Hi, guys. Yes, I'm here.
Miss Griffin, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I do want to get clarification, however, and I'm glad that you called in. What is your relationship with Mr. Comstock?
We have what I see as a strictly platonic and professional type of relationship where I look to him as a coach to help guide me on my surfing efforts and hopefully absolutely a career that I believe he does have a good investment in for me, and so I really appreciate that. So,
You might appreciate it, Miss Eye Candy, but I certainly do not. He is a married man, and regardless of what you say, you are completely an unreliable narrator. And you know how I know that? Eggplant emojis, peach emojis. Who does that? Who sends that to a married man?
Ms. Griffin, I do want to know about the, quote, playful nature of your text messages. That, you have to admit, is extremely flirtatious.
Yeah, surfing is a very sexual thing. There's a lot of innuendos. It can easily be misconstrued when trying to have a positive attitude and a sunny outlook on your efforts there, and, you know, keep charging and keep ripping. And
Miss Griffin, I beg your pardon. You said surfing is a very sexy.
Yeah, it can have, you know, it's a very raw sport that can bring out the rawest in people's nature, whether it's good or bad, and it offers a lot, and it can take a lot, and sometimes it does take time and energy from the people in your life, and everybody can't always be included, and it can be, yeah.
You're going to have to explain that a little bit more, because I need to do some research on surfing. I thought I was focused on riding the waves and not drowning. Now you're telling me I'm supposed to find a sexiness to it.
There's a lot more men out there than women, and it is helpful if the man is willing to kind of reach out, give some guidance, and you know, pave a little bit of the way. And I really just think he's a great guy, and I think that his wife should really have more understanding.
So, Ms. Griffin, I'm going to tell you, I understand you're single, correct?
Yes, I am currently.
And Ms. Griffin, take it from a married lady. There's no married lady in the world that wants to have her husband's, quote, mentee describe what they're doing in a sexual nature, even if you call it platonic. And one day, if the Lord is willing, you will marry the man or the woman of your dreams, and you will live happily ever after. But you're never going to want another woman to do what you're doing in this relationship. Trust and believe. Because if you were doing it in mine, we'd have a problem, young lady. We'd have a big problem. Thank you, Ms. Griffin. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Comstock, let's be real clear.
Okay.
She sounds like a lovely young lady. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't have an appreciation for your marriage. Mr. Comstock, I listened to her. You did too. Yeah. And the interesting part about it was I watched your face. You were a little embarrassed.
Like I said, she's a little playful.
You know, Mrs. Comstock, your husband literally has been putting his surfing obsession in front of your family.
Yes,
I don't know how else to put it. Mr. Comstock, you want your wife to accept you for better, for worse, for who you are.
Absolutely.
But she's been getting a whole lot of worse. That usually means that a relationship has run its course. And that's a sad thing to hear. I mean, I really and truly think you need to grow up and start acting like a man and not a little kid, and stop affiliating with a little kid. Because that young lady, sweet as she can be, adorable, she's having a lot of fun, which she's entitled to as a young person, but she's not entitled to do it inside of your marriage. That's not fair to your wife. Mrs. Comstock, if you've decided that he can't give you what you want, can't give you what you need, and is not the man that you want now, we're not talking about the man that you married then. It's the man that you want now. It's time for this relationship to be over. Wow, Robert, I heard of obsessions and addictions and things, but surfing?
When your passion doesn't provide an income, I mean, really?
You have to put it on the back burner.
Yeah, make it a hobby then.
I know, exactly. Your passion needs to become a hobby if that passion is not adding to your household.
I can't believe.
You just...
I don't want it to go this way.
So disappointed in you. What about our son?
I told you that I didn't cheat. I've been telling you that all along.
I'm so sad. I can't believe you would do this to our marriage. It was good when it started, babe. I can't even call you babe anymore.
It could be good.
No, it's done.